I'm Steve Latham with the Yale Interdisciplinary Center for Bioethics, and I'm speaking now with Mayli Mertens. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you educated and where are you being educated?
I'm originally from Antwerp, Belgium, where I got my bachelor's degree in journalism. And then after working a few years in media and starting a nonprofit organization that focused on social and environmental injustice issues, I decided to really focus all my attention on education. And then I did my master's in applied ethics at the Linköping University in Sweden. I then specialized in bioethics here at Yale. And then that was right before I started my PhD in the Netherlands at the University of Twente.
And you're in the midst of that now.
Yes.
And what's your topic? What are you working on?
So my research is really on the intersection of philosophy of technology and medical ethics. More specifically, it's neuroethics and responsible innovation in clinical settings. And so what I'm really looking at is the ethical implications of how continuous EEG monitoring can predict brain damage in coma patients who suffered cardiac arrest. And the reason that's so complicated is because through that monitoring, you could predict earlier what the outcome or the morbidity also of that patient will be, which means that you could also have an earlier decision about whether or not to withdraw life-sustaining care. Mm-hmm. And so if those medical technologies travel outside of, like go to different countries, then it becomes really controversial very often. And most of medical technologies do travel to other countries.
Mm-hmm. So the idea is that if you're doing this kind of monitoring, it can back up your end-of-life decision-making. So you're doing it in anticipation of what's going to happen instead of when the bad things start happening.
Yeah, I mean, it could do that. And also, it basically would improve the prognostication because actually there is not really an alternative right now. So it's also kind of a necessity to find a way to do the prognostication.
Hmm. Yeah. So, and what are you teaching in the summer program?
Well, here at Yale, I'm currently teaching 2 courses. One is on bias in bioethics, and we cover cognitive as well as cultural and contextual biases. The other is on environmental justice in bioethics, and the main point there is really to show where environmental justice and social justice kind of connect and to address them as one issue rather as 2 separate issues.
Mm-hmm. And how are the students?
So the students are amazing. I think Lori Bruce, the program director, she does an amazing, incredible job at selecting all of these wonderful groups from the many applications that she gets, and the diversity from both their national background and their educational backgrounds are really extraordinary. So we have undergrads and graduate students and professionals from different disciplines like medical doctors and lawyers, and if you get all of those people together in a room to discuss these, some of the main challenges that we face, that's really inspiring.
I'm smiling because I've been asking everyone this question, how do you like the students? And everyone says the same thing. They all talk about the diversity of backgrounds and so on. And it's honestly not scripted, right? I didn't tell you to say that.
No. It's really remarkable.
No, it is. It is an incredible thing, but it's been pretty much the universal answer when I ask people that question. Do you think teaching here will impact your work?
I think that teaching here really sets a new standard for what I think education should be like. Because it's not just the students that are impressive, it's also the learning environment. So, thanks to Lori, we now have a week before the students start the seminars where they get foundational lectures, so it really makes it so that everybody starts out with this common ground, and it allows for much deeper discussions. And of course, the small groups for the seminars, the quality of the discussion speaks for itself. And furthermore, the discussions tend to keep going on in depth online as well, because we have these online discussion boards, and so you can really tell that people are very engaged there as well.
Yeah, and this year for the first time we have a small group discussion in Spanish that Santiago is leading, and those are really good experiences, I think, for the students.
And I think also what I thought was really remarkable here is that we were giving the opportunity to submit course proposals, and proposals that we thought those were really important issues and often neglected issues in the field. And so one thing is that it really creates novel topics, but also it allows the seminar leaders to teach not only what their expertise is, but also what they're really passionate about. And I mean, the bias course, I mean, it's kind of it mirrors my trajectory in life, but also, if people weren't so open to new ideas here, then I don't think that course would exist. And I think it's almost, I think it's really essential when you're going to, if you want to tackle bioethical issues in the real world and have a practical impact, and I think it's really important for you to learn to find a balance between being really critical, and not just of other people's opinions and arguments, but of your own opinion and arguments, and then, but not just be critical, but also increase your compassion and understanding of others. And that's what that course really does. So I think, that kind of openness to new proposals, I think that's also really extraordinary. And honestly, the work environment. I mean, the colleagues that in just a few years we managed to have this basis, like a rich basis for collaboration. And I mean, we have colleagues obviously from the US, but Ukraine and Japan and Israel and Canada and I think Uruguay and Australia and Lithuania. I mean, it's incredible and an amazing group of people.
Do you think you'll be working with these people in the future?
I really
grant proposals or conferences.
Right now most of the ideas have been like on paper ideas and working on papers together. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Have you been working on papers?
I have. Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, when they're finished, we'll brag about them in the newsletter.
Yeah. One has come out just last week. It
was
with Zohar.
Oh.
And
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for being interviewed, and thanks for teaching in the summer program.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.